All right, so how's everyone doing? I wanted to make a quick video, quick at least by my timing. Let's put it that way, on guitar action of all things, and it came about not even from watching the regular guitar video or something like that. It was really a basis. I was watching Yannick Guizdala, I believe. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but he's a great bassist, and he's got a beautiful bass podcast that I kind of listen to and watch on YouTube. And he was interviewing the man himself, John Patitucci, who I happen to love. And they were just talking about supposedly Patitucci's action on his basses, and he's notoriously known for having very, very high action on his electric bass. And and he was being asked a question about why is that the case, and he talks about tone. And I think he goes on, he does pay the homage to guys like Marcus Miller, who um, their action's low, and Marcus is a god on the bass, obviously. But Marcus does a lot of slapping, and there are people, it's kind of like the same arguments back and forth with, should you use 9s, 10s, 11, 12s, 13, or do you get a fat tone, thin tone? So everybody keeps talking about things like that. But at the end of the day, there are some universal things to be said about, I think, heavier strings and a little bit higher action. For me, it starts off with very personal. For years, that's what I played, was a very high action D28 copy. It was a Yamaha guitar for about 8 years that I had. That was the only guitar I had. I had 12s or 13s on it for most of its life. Never had anything like 11, 10s. I didn't know what that was. I want to ask me where I got it from, but that's what I put on that guitar. The neck was probably bowed and all this other stuff, but that guitar sounded great. I wish I had it. It's kind of funny. All these years later, I'm trying out these fancy, expensive, acoustic guitars. I still yearn for that sound. There's something to be said about just gravitating and playing one instrument, but that's a whole other video in and of itself. But let's talk about the virtues of higher action and even higher strings, because it kind of goes a little bit hand in hand. The first thing is, it's whether it's an acoustic instrument or, to me, an electric instrument, because it does matter. I think on an acoustic instrument, you cannot have the action too low. You're not going to be heard. So you do have much more volume, as you can tell by, Freddie Green with Count Basie. Supposedly the man's action was like 5 foot high. And so you do get more volume the higher the action is because you need it to be heard. And so you have to get that thing springing. And if you ever go to a bluegrass jam or pick up a bluegrass players, flat pickers, dreadnought, those actions are a lot higher than somebody that plays double O, triple O, and are doing some fancy little finger style playing, things of that nature. So the first thing is, if it's an acoustic instrument, the volume is going to be increased. In addition to that, I think the clarity of your tone is going to be better with a little bit higher action as opposed to a low action. You can hear the notes when you have to press down more. You just can hear the clarity of the note in and of itself. Then you just touch it and you hear frets and a little bit buzzing and things of that nature if the action is too low. So and you can't see it, but my acoustics are set up. I don't know the measurements. My tech sets them up like that. But I know they're higher than normal because whenever my friends come over that play guitar, try one of my guitars, they moan about the action and about the gauge of the string. So I have 13s on here, and the action is not Freddie Green action, but it is higher than whatever medium action would be. Let's just put it that way. And, I think when you play fingerstyle too, for me, it's more the independence and the clarity of the arpeggios and the way I play. It comes out a little bit cleaner off of the higher action. So that's, to me, the benefit of it. The higher action is the clarity of the tone. It also makes you work harder. It's like lifting weights, like anything else. It's easier for me to go to somebody's house or pick up somebody else's guitar. I don't like it. If I go, one of the hardest thing it was for me to learn is, like, I would go to a guitar center, and it didn't matter what the guitar was, and I would pick it up. It would be strung with 9s or 10s with low action. And I would have to change my playing style to see if this was something I wanted to get. And there were times because of that, I thought maybe I should just go to lower action and, lower gauge strings and things like that. But no matter what, I always end up going back to 12s, 13s, and sometimes even 14s and higher action. So, but I do think it'll help you build up stamina. It's like lifting weights and bench pressing, and your fingers are going to be a lot stronger, and your music is going to be a little bit better. So, yeah, having said that, there are some great players who have very, very low action and very, very low gauge strings. For example, if you're playing metal, you got people playing 8s because they're going to be doing a lot of slow sweep picking, and their actions are very, very low. When I pick up a metal guitar, or a guitar player that plays metal, because there are those guys, and they're actually very, very good. They can do stuff I will never be able to do. The action's ridiculous. And if you don't have the amp on, all you hear is buzzing. I want it to be that if I put no volume, you don't hear buzzing on that. You hear it almost like an acoustic. And this is a laminate guitar. The Gibson 175 is nothing fancy. It's no solid top. So it's set up like it's an acoustic guitar I would be playing and things of that nature. But on a metal guitar, if I played that, or if something had low action, you'd hear some buzzing. You really wouldn't hear the separation of the notes from going from this A minor to G chord and things of that nature. But the reason why most players, or most guitar stores and, big box guitar stores, i.e. Guitar Center, sell these guitars with these low action on it and these 8 and 9 strings, because it's easier for people to play. People are all about comfort. When I started playing guitar, I got calluses on all my fingers right here. Boom, 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 right here on my left hand. And I got calluses on my right hand because I didn't have, nails. And you develop calluses. And I guess nowadays, if little Johnny or Jane comes home and they have calluses from their guitar lesson, their parents are going to tell them that they can't play this stuff anymore. But yeah, to me, guitars that are set up a little bit high action, sometimes there's a sweetness to them. There just is. I don't know if it's just because some of them are older, when I go and do my little rounds in the guitar stores, if I happen to pick up something, it might have what people will term a horribly high action, but man, the tone is to die for. Don't ask me why. Very rarely have I picked up a guitar. I don't care if it's like a $4,000 guitar that's like a solid top. Very rarely do I pick up a guitar with low action. I say, man, the tone for this is to die for. And by the way, when I buy a solid body guitar, I always play it unplugged. Usually, you're not coming home with me if you don't sound good without going through an amp. Son amp, which is actually a brand, but without an amp. Okay, so yeah, and usually I can say that more so about high action guitars. And again, I don't know if that's by virtue of them being a little bit older, more antique, seasoned wood. There's all these other reasons that could be driving that directionally. But there you have it. That's in a nutshell, not a short video. Sorry about that. Of why I think high action is something that you should kind of look out to do. If you have more than one guitar, I would just suggest setting one up for a little bit higher than whatever you usually play, and just practice with it a little bit, and you'll get comfortable. One of the things is like necessity drives everything. Like I said, when I first started playing, 8 years with that Yamaha, very, very high action, very thick strings. And hey, I learned to play it that way, and so that's how I play. All right then, thank you again for watching, and as usual, practice, practice, and practice some more.